Episode 413. The host painstakingly assembled the final seat number and announced it. The loudest response from the audience was a collective sigh of disappointment. Of course, everyone wanted to get up on stage and join in the fun. It's just a shame only a handful of lucky ones got the chance. Chen Guo was among those who let out a disappointed sigh. Every time a number was drawn at random, Chen Guo's eyes would go wide. When Zhou Zikai finally announced the seat number himself, she strained her ears to listen intently. Out of the entire stadium's 10,000 plus spectators, only 4 were chosen. With odds of just 0.4%, Chen Guo was, unfortunately, not one of them. But missing out on something as random as a lottery ticket is hardly a reason to stay down in the dumps. After a moment of regret, Chen Guo immediately picked up her brand new telescope and started scanning the scene again. "Hey!" Chen Guo suddenly called out.
What's up?
Yi Shu and Tang Ru looked at her, puzzled.
Su Mucheng brought a telescope too.
Chen Guo was thrilled that her thoughts had aligned with her idols.
Oh? Let me see.
Take a look.
Chen Guo handed the binoculars to Ye Shu.
Over there. Over there.
Yi Shu took the binoculars, looked toward the professional players' seating area, and quickly spotted Su Mucheng. Sure enough, she had brought a large telescope too, and was currently holding it up, swiveling it around this way and that.
Right?
Chen Guo kept chattering incessantly in Ye Shu's ear, but Ye Shu saw Su Mucheng over there swinging her telescope around. It finally turned in his direction and soon stopped moving. The distance is a bit far, but I guess you could call this a face-to-face meeting now. Ah, wait, that's 8 eyes staring at each other. Yi Shu was taken aback, but Chen Guo was already trying to get the binoculars back. Yi Shu handed the binoculars back to her. Chen Guo raised it to her eye and immediately let out a sharp cry. Then she quickly lowered the telescope, her expression going blank.
She's looking this way, isn't she?
Looks like it.
Chen Guo quickly raised the binoculars again, then said in surprise.
Ah, she's waving over here. Is she waving at someone?
As she spoke, Chen Guo had already stood up, looking around, but she didn't notice that the person beside her had also waved a couple of times in that direction. After scanning the area, Chen Guo sat back down and raised her binoculars once more. Over there, Su Mucheng's searching gaze had already come to an end. On the stage now, all 4 pro players participating in the event had taken their places. Zhou Zikai was one of the 4. 3 of the pro players in this event are volunteers, and the 4th is usually selected from the all-star ranks to add a bit of star power to the proceedings. Naturally, anyone who makes it to the all-star roster has a popularity edge over your average player. These players are like the big-name stars in movies, the ones who guarantee box office success. And this popular player's task was to select 4 lucky audience members to join him in the event. For the first event, the hurdles race, the popular contestant was, of course, Zhou Zikai. Standing there on the stage with the other pros and the regular audience, he somehow stood out immediately. He seemed to exist somewhere between a pro player and a regular spectator. He looked a bit ill at ease, though not as obviously as a regular spectator would. The other 3 pro players, whose popularity paled in comparison to his, actually seemed more composed and at ease than this superstar. The host was interviewing each of the 8 people in turn. For the 4 ordinary audience members, it was just asking their names, then their glory IDs and classes, and finally their thoughts at the moment. 2 of the 4 expressed their excitement fully, while one just burst into laughter the moment he opened his mouth, completely unable to speak. The 4th member of the group was a girl, who was gazing at Zhou Zikai with Happy's eyes full of hope. However, what was rather disappointing for the girl was that Zhou Zikai never once turned his head to look at her, keeping his gaze fixed on his own feet the entire time. After the audience interviews, it was the pro players' turn. They handled the questions with practiced ease. Finally, it was Zhou Zikai's turn again. The host's palms were sweating by now.
Zikai?
The host asked. Zhou Zikai looked up at him.
So, feeling confident about taking home the championship.
Hesitating.
Zhou Zikai hesitated for a moment.
Okay.
Go!
The host didn't dwell on what that good meant. He quickly wrapped up the interview with the expert and immediately announced that the first event, the hurdles race, was about to begin. This competition is purely for fun, so fairness isn't even a consideration. The pro players were using their own account cards, and the audience was advised to do the same. If anyone didn't have theirs, the organizers would provide one. However, the promotional materials had long reminded the audience to bring their account cards, as there was a chance to take the stage and play alongside the pros. So, all 4 contestants who stepped up logged in using their own accounts. The 8 players took their positions on the competition stage, and soon 8 game avatars materialized on the racetrack. The most eye-catching figure was, of course, Joe ZK's Cloudpiercer. Dressed in a gray trench coat and a black top hat, the character stood silently behind the starting line of Lane 1, its perspective lowered just like Joe ZK himself. Next to him was a lucky audience member. The 7 characters were lined up in a staggered formation, but the heads of 4 of them were all tilted toward Lane 1. Clearly, the 4 regular players were swiveling their perspectives to admire the Gun King's imposing presence. For the average person, even meeting a pro player is a rare event. But sharing the stage with a true legend, they just fade into the background.
On your marks, get set.
A loud, authoritative sound echoed through the stadium. The signal gun fired, but it wasn't just one shot. A whole rapid-fire string of gunshots followed right after. The live audience was completely baffled, thinking the signal gun must have malfunctioned or something. But then they saw Joe ZK's Cloudpiercer, which was now flying backwards. The rapid gunfire wasn't from the starter pistol. It was the continuous flash of sparks from the silver weapon revolver, Wildfire, in Joe ZK's hand. Without a doubt, Joe ZK was using the flying gun technique. This flying gun technique requires a high-frequency shooting rhythm. A single cannon shot can propel a character a great distance, but flying gun needs continuous fire to maintain the character's levitation. In terms of pure technical difficulty, aerial gunplay far surpasses aerial cannonry. But for Joe ZK, the current top gunner ace, a fundamental technique like aerial gunplay was utterly mastered. The starting pistol fired, his character spun around and shot backwards, instantly putting a gap between himself and the other 7. That reaction alone showed Joe ZK's skill was clearly on another level.